Yes, people, welcome back to the ShoeString Budget Podcast. Here we are again with some transfer news. We've got some interesting ones that have popped up over the last 48 hours, which I'm a bit shocked at. One, this is the one that excites me the most. I don't see it happening, but I'm really excited and I want to get your view on this. So it's been reported massively over the last 48 hours that OSiMHEN, who is obviously Cristiano Ronaldo's agent, has been in talks with Napoli over potentially taking his client there. Now, there's a lot of different discussions on how that deal would be dealt. So it could be a case of that we would send Ronaldo there on loan, and we would pay, this is one of the reports, that we would pay 80% of Ronaldo's wages.
What?
Yes, this is one of the reports that came out earlier yesterday, and I just thought that was absolutely bonkers. He's on close to $500,000 a year, $500,000 a week. How can we be expected to lose one of our biggest assets and pay for it as well?
For a club that's in so much debt, they seem to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. We don't spend it in the right places. We definitely spend. There's no doubt about that, and there's no question of that. The best one, this is one that gets me the most excited, and this has been reported quite a lot over the last 24 hours in particular. As part of this deal as well, that we are looking to get Victor Oshimen.
I think either way, we know what you're talking about.
You know who I mean. That guy. He's 23 years of age, Nigerian striker, very, very good, very highly thought of. I believe he's the most expensive African player as well. Napoli signed him for around 70 mil, either last season or the season before. So the deal structure would be that we would send Ronaldo on loan for 1 year, and in return, they would send us Victor Oshimen on loan for 1 year, with the potential for a second year for Ronaldo and an obligation to buy. So no matter how he does, we have to buy him, and that fee would be around 100 million. And I believe 100 million pound. So it works out about 120 to 130 million euros. That is the obligation Manchester United would have.
What is it nowadays with football? It's just all about money. There's so many ridiculous signings that go in for so much money. It's ridiculous.
In all honesty, though, you have to look and you have to blame clubs like Manchester United. We are probably the biggest culprits of inflating the market. We did it with Paul Pogba at the beginning. Regardless of what your thoughts are on Paul Pogba, he is not a 90 million pound player. Not then, not now. Man City obviously then had to one-up us and get Grealish for 100 million again.
But that was the funniest one.
That is just something else. Chelsea, of course, as well, with the Lukaku for 100 million, and then after 2 months he said, I don't like it, I want to go back to Inter, which for me is probably one of the funniest transfers in history, up there with Pogba. But we are to blame. We are massively to blame, and a lot of it comes down to, I think anyway, because we leave it till the last minute. We don't plan. There's no semblance of a plan with Man United. We just go out at the last second and go, oh gosh, the fans are unhappy. Who will make them happy? Let's chuck money at the problem. And you're never going to get far with that mentality. You can't just chuck money at this problem. No. This club needs an overhaul from the very top to the very bottom. It's just a rotten club at times. But going back onto a slightly more positive one, I would really like this deal. I want Ronaldo to leave, and I mean that in the nicest way. I mean that for him. We spoke about this on previous podcasts. That he's in his twilight years now. He should be playing Champions League. Something interesting that I actually came across earlier about Ronaldo, just a segue. I like my segues. So what I heard about, or what I heard an opinion about earlier that was actually quite insightful about Cristiano Ronaldo, and this makes sense. He didn't put his request to leave into the public domain until I believe it was like 2 or 3 weeks into the transfer window. Now, and they cited it was because he wanted Champions League football, etc., etc. The opinion, or the different opinion, is he was happy to stay at United. He knew back in February that we weren't qualifying for the Champions League, and he wanted to stay because he wanted to be part of the rebuild. He wanted to see what Manchester United were going to do. And then 2 or 3 weeks into the transfer window, we hadn't signed anybody. Well, I think we signed Malacia. We hadn't even signed Martinez when Ronaldo had handed in his transfer request. I think he has looked at the situation at United and gone, you're not strengthening, you're not bringing players in, you don't care about this club, I'm off out. I actually think that's quite an interesting opinion.
Yeah.
And I can see that.
But what I feel like now is, I feel like the fact that we've brought in players like Casemiro and Martinez and now Anthony, I feel like that could persuade him a little bit to stay, which might be a good thing, but I don't think it will be.
I don't think so. I think I do see what you're saying about bringing players in that would want him, that would make him want to stay. But you look at it now, it's been 3 games. He's not, I think he started in the Brentford game, but he hasn't started in 2 of those games, one being our biggest game of the season against Liverpool. And it was absolutely the correct decision.
When he comes on, especially the Southampton game, when he came on against Southampton, he probably had about 3 touches and he lost the ball every time.
Yeah, he was dying. He had chances to feed other players in. There was one right near the end in the last few seconds of that match where he could have fed, I think it was Rashford in, and he messed it up. I don't see him buying into this Ten Hag philosophy for whatever reason, whether that is down to the fact that he has now down tools. And again, I can see why he would do that. This club is not what he expected it to be, and the state of it is not what he expected. Personally, long story short, I hope he gets his move to a Champions League club. If that club is Napoli, I would be so happy if we did bring in Victor Oshimen the opposite way. Even if we paid 100 million for him at this point, I couldn't care less. We need that striker. Yes, people, thank you so much for listening to the ShoeString Budget Podcast. Make sure that you follow us on all our socials, on our Twitter page. Just put in hashtag the ShoeString Budget Podcast and you'll see us on there. Remember, hashtag Glazers out. Thank you.